What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions, and I will be breaking down Jose Aldo versus Marlon Vera, and I'll be giving you my prediction of this fight. This is great matchmaking. I think this is going to be our barn burner, man. We might see some Fight of the Year contenders, but this one, I have a really good feeling will be a classic. I really do. Just the way Marlon Vera fights and the way Aldo fights. We all know about Jose Aldo and what he's accomplished. But let's look at the stats. Jose Aldo's coming in 28-7. Is riding a 3-fight losing streak. Some of them, at least one of them is questionable. Fights out of Brazil, age 34, height 5'7", and a reach of 70. Marlon Vera. Oh, and Aldo's, I think, the number 6 bantamweight. Let me check. Actually, let me look at the UFC rankings. Let's look. Aldo's number 7 and Vera is number 15 in the UFC rankings of the bantamweight division. Just had to check that out. But Vera comes in 18-6-1, has one draw on his record. Age 28, fights out of New Mexico. Height 5'8", and a reach of 70.5. So he doesn't really have that much of a reach advantage. But if you look at these guys' notable wins, man, like Aldo, I mean, he's beaten the who's of this, of the featherweight division. But man, you look at what he did to Frankie Edgar, Chad Mendes, Ricardo Lamas, Korean Zombie, Kenny Florian, Mark Hominick, Uriah Faber, Cub Swanson, man, like some really, really good wins. And then even later, his win over Jeremy Stevens, and then he beat Frankie Edgar in a rematch for the title. And then his last win is the Renato Moicano, finish, where he knocked him out, I think, in the second round, which was a really, really interesting fight. And I'll get more to that. There's actually like an interesting layer to that. But he is riding a 3-fight losing streak. He did lose to Volkanovski. That one was kind of disappointing. He just did not let his hands go. It was almost like a Woodley-esque performance, and it's something. It was so weird. Like, I don't know if him losing the weight, rejuvenated him, but like right when he went and fought Marlon Moraes, I thought he lost. To this day, I watched that fight. I watched that fight again, even for the Corey Sandhagen breakdown, just to see what other people, like some of my friends really think Marlon won that fight. I just do not see it. It's obvious. 2-1. I thought Aldo won the third round. I don't think Moraes did some stuff with his, did that little cool triple jab or whatever. But I was more impressed with the pressure that Aldo was giving Marlon. Just my personal preference. This is it. But he was rejuvenated, and I thought he beat the number 1 guy at the time in the division, and I thought he earned a title shot, because he really won that fight. And if they would have given him that fight, he would have been the number 1 guy, but they didn't. So that's the problem. But he ended up fighting Peter Yan, and I thought, it could have been going into the 5th. It could have been 3-1 Yan or 2-2, right? It depends on how you score some of those rounds. But even in this fight, he looked so different. Like, just these, even though he's lost his last, if you just look at the way he fought Volkanovski and these two, it just seemed like he was fighting for something. And especially in the Yan fight, he threw out every gadget he had. He brought some of the leg kicks back. And obviously you can tell he's not comfortable throwing them. He doesn't like to throw them. We've never gotten a legitimate reason why, but he just hasn't. He had, in some of his recent fights, he just hasn't felt like throwing them. And, it is what it is with that, but he went for takedowns. He was doing a lot of Muay Thai clinches, a lot of Muay Thai knees. It was dope, man. He was throwing knees and stuff like that, and he gave it everything he had. And Yan was just more persistent, and he was just a hammer. And he hammered him out in that 5th round, and just he broke him, and that's what ended up happening. You could see it. I feel like the Max Holloway loss is a lot worse because Max broke him really early in like the 3rd round. Yeah, both times in the 3rd round, and both times it was like ground and pound. It was crazy how Max just destroyed him, and it wasn't like, it was competitive. Like, I thought they were good fights, but it's kind of crazy how like he was able to just take him out. But it is what it is at the end of the day. But if we look at Marlon's, he's coming off a phenomenal win over Sean O'Malley, man. He he let motherfuckers know, bro. I didn't pick him. I'm not gonna lie. I thought, you know, Sean was gonna beat him by decision, but I thought that was gonna be Sean's toughest test. Like Marlon is, he's just, or I'll say Cheeto. Cheeto is just, he's so tough, man. And I'll give him one thing, man. He just goes through the fire, and he's just a, like, I know a lot of people hate Cheeto for some odd reason because of the antics he did after the fight. And I like Sean. Like I'll admit it, I'm a Sean fan. Right? I like Sean O'Malley, but you can't tell me like this guy is just a hard worker. Like even the way he fights, the way he just comes at you with that kind of almost like stiff hands up, like always hands up style, right? And he's just trying to walk you down with offense, and that's about it. But I've never got it. But that fight was really interesting. You know, he ended up getting that nerve on O'Malley's I think right leg. I think it was his right leg, and he got him on the ground and just put on some vicious elbows on him, and that was crazy, man. Like that was just such an abrupt like hype train over. Stop. Don't ever disrespect me again. Like I'm here to stay. Kind of like yeah, it was kind of crazy. But then he had a controversial loss to Song Yadong. I will say one thing about this fight. I thought it was more competitive than I thought it was in the first. I saw it again, and it was way more competitive. I will say it was not a robbery. I thought Marlon edged it. Like in the second round, I thought he had a great flurry at the end of the second round that won him that round, and even in the third, he got a lot of takedowns on Song. So I thought he edged it, but 28-29, something simple like that. If it depends on who you gave that second round to, I kind of get where people are coming from, because he threw some heat on him, and it's like those. I thought about it for a second. I was like, wow. This wasn't a robbery. This was a good fight, But it is what it is. It's my humble opinion. But then he goes on that fucking 5-fight win streak. Andre Ewell, Nolan Hernandez, Frankie Shans, Guido Canete, and then Wu Jin Burn. And since then, what he was able to do, like just finish after finish after finish, and like some of them are late, some of them are early. Like he is just a finisher. He has wins over Brian Kelleher and Brad Pickett. Like the Brad Pickett fight was crazy, and like Brad Pickett was winning the whole fight, bro. And then he got him, and that's how game this guy is. He armbarred Brian Kelleher really quick. It depends on how you look at Brian Kelleher. He's a good fighter, I'd say. He gets his wins, but Cheeto he's just a game guy. I don't know how good Cheeto can be. I don't think Cheeto is gonna be a champion. I think Cheeto's highest potential that he can really meet is maybe number 6 in the world if he ends up beating Jose Aldo. But that's a maybe, But what makes Cheeto really interesting is that Cheeto studies, he studies his opponent. What I found super interesting, I rewatched the Renato Moicano fight with Jose Aldo, and I was about to talk. I told you I was going to talk about this. He was on commentary for that fight, and then I seen other interviews, and I'm just playing some 5D chess, right? I'm just assuming, right? He talked about how he studies his opponents, like he'll watch their first 10 fights, or the last 10 fights. Like he'll watch all 10, looking for holes, looking for things he can exploit, right? And I'm seeing he's on the commentary desk, and you can find the fight UFC Espanol. You can hear him talking, right? And it is crazy that I was just shocked. I was like, wow, man, he's been looking at Aldo for a minute, and now he has the fight. He has the opportunity. It's a big fight on a big card, on a big fight night card, end of the year card, right? They're giving these guys. And he's gonna find out a lot. There's certain things he can exploit. Really, Cheeto, I wouldn't say his boxing is decent. His kicks are better, but it's the clinch game. He really wants to apply that clinch that Volkanovski put. He really wants to put that pressure, and he wants to stay tough. Basically, you got to stay tough. You got to tough it out with Aldo, and then you gotta. That's how you break him. But this is a 3-round fight, and this is where things kind of go to Aldo's side, and here's why I say for Aldo. Aldo, you look at what he was able to do with Renato Mocanho, Jeremy Stevens. He is a high, high twitch fiber kind of guy, whatever you want to call it. He's super explosive. The way his boxing for the first round, dude, he has, I won't even say he has the best boxing, but like the body work that he puts in the first round, man, he be destroying them guts, man. And a pause and no homo, by the way, but I'm just saying, bro, them body shots he be hitting, bro, it is crazy. Like, dude, the even like it doesn't even matter. Like the Renato Mocanho fight, he was just, even when he had him hurt in the second, he just would start punch. He would not stop. He said he would not stop. Even in the Marlon fight, there was this great combo where he threw it straight to the body, and then with the lead in, he threw a beautiful body shot, and then right when Marlon was trying to engage, he threw a rear uppercut right in his, like, it was a beautiful combo. But I think, here's what I think. Aldo, he's gonna have to win by decision. You've seen him fight Frankie Edgar, all right, and he was able to style on Frankie Edgar and just dominate and just stuff all the takedowns. But really, I've seen since the Volkanovski fight, his wrestling defense hasn't looked the best. He did get taken down by Jan in the 4th round, so that wasn't cool. He did get taken down by Marlon. So that's Marlon Moraes, by the way. That's what I mean. But Cheeto, I wouldn't say Cheeto has a great offensive wrestling, but he goes for takedowns. He'll do it. He goes for trips. So really, all Aldo has to worry about is the clinch, and kind of not getting overwhelmed by Cheeto's pressure, and kind of giving him something that he has to worry about. Make him back up, be the general almost, and because that's where Aldo's great. And maybe Aldo goes for some takedowns. You never know, to win the round. This is going to be a chess match. I honestly do believe that. It's going to be a battle of attrition. I know Marlon's going to try to, weaponize pace against Aldo, and Aldo's going to have to weaponize his explosiveness. Marlon is he's a sitting duck. Like, Cheeto's a sitting duck to get. He's a little hittable. He's a bit of a punching bag sometimes. Like, he took a lot of shots from Song Yudong, right? He did. So that's one thing that I look at. I'm like, man, Song Yudong looked pretty good against Marlon Vera. And I'm like, oh my God, I might change I thought this was way more close. I thought it was 50-50. Now I'm kind of like, man, this might be 70-30. Like, I'm going to be going Jose Aldo. I think he takes it down by decision. I think he wins the first 2 rounds and probably give up the third. I think Marlon, I think he should have vouched for 5. Marlon is really going to need to finish him in the third. And he has a good ratio. He finished, I think, Andre Ewell in the third. He's pretty good at finishing guys late. He's I wouldn't call him a slow starter. I've heard that before, but he's just I feel like he's more of these guys that's kind of like, he needs his rhythm and stuff like that. And I think Jose Aldo, he'll take this by decision. I'm going Aldo by decision. I think this is gonna be a phenomenal fight. I can't wait for it. And he's coming off a 3-fight losing streak. Like, even though the Marlon Moraes isn't a real loss, in my humble opinion, the Jan, man, that was a beating in the 5th round, and he shouldn't have taken that damage. And then he just kind of got manhandled, man, like in the Volkanovski fight in his hometown, in his country. I want to say his hometown. And like, when that happens to you, take those kind of losses, right? You want to win. And I think he's not. I know everyone says, oh, and I know he's had a whole bunch of fights since he was 16, right? He's had a whole bunch of fights, right? But he's 34. I still think he can get it done. I think Marlon has some holes where he has some last with judgment. Like, the reaction time isn't the best. He doesn't like to slip his head a lot. He always keeps his head in the center line. I just think I think Jose Aldo is gonna get it done. He might drop him. He might use some leg kicks. You never know. But I think Aldo gets it done. I think he outboxes him by decision. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go click the notification button. Go subscribe. Go like. If you want to dislike, you can do that too. I'm not tripping. Comment. I love when you guys comment. I love interacting with you guys. I enjoy it a lot. And that's about it. Hope you guys have a awesome day. Love y'all. Goodbye. And eBay Fight Predictions is out.